Handicapping is only half the battle. Picking the right horses does you no good if you don't know which pools to fish in or how to construct tickets that give you the best chance to win. Take what you've learned in night school and apply it to ticket construction. Take your time and make well thought out decisions. Taste success with basic wagers such as win, place, show, daily doubles, and exactas before graduating to more difficult and expensive wagers. Sacrifice gimmicks for winners. Is there a worse feeling in racing than seeing your key horse win but failing to collect because you missed the gimmick? If you like a horse, play that horse first. If you like a favorite, especially in a short field, place a win and triple your place bet wager and forget about show. For example, 5 to win and 15 to place. If your horse runs second, chances are you'll still make a profit. If you like a square-priced horse or a long shot in a field of 8 or more, climb the ladder, bet win, double your place bet, and then double that to show. For example, $5 to win, $10 to place, and $20 to show. One of the wagers that I like to teach people is called a ladder bet. It's a win, play, show bet, but it's stacked, and it does allow you to make a profit even if your horse runs third. Let's take a look at how we would play a ladder bet on the horse I like today at Arlington Park. We will press Arlington Park. We'll go to race number 4, and this horse I'm expecting at least a 5 to 1 price on. So I am going to bet $5 to win on my number 5 E Blue, 10 to 1 in the morning line. Okay? I am going to bet $10 to place on number 5 E Blue. And finally, I'm going to bet $20 to show on number 5 E Blue. Make sure I take my remaining balance. And then once again, it's $5 to win, $10 to place, $20 to show. If E Blue runs third and pays $5.20 to show, I'm still going to make a good profit. If he runs second and pays $6.80 to place and $5.20 to show, I'm going to make even more money. And if he pays $15 to win, $7.20 to place, and $5.20 to show, then I'm going to cash all 3 tickets across the board. I'm betting a horse I like. I'm grinding it out by playing a ladder bet, win, double place, quadruple show. Hopefully the horse will win, and I'll cash on all 3.
Between horses and tight quarters, Roy Leroy kept in that box by E Blue, who's battled to a short lead. It's E Blue and Roy Leroy. Roy Leroy and E Blue. Photo 2, close to call.
E Blue won at odds of 4 to 1. Best case scenario, survived to claim a foul. Let's see how well we did. So for a $35 wager, and you got to love that sound, by the way, of winning tickets going in, $35 bet, $93.50 cash, and it was the best case scenario because obviously the horse won. If the horse had run second or third, we still would have made a profit. That's why you ladder horses. Sometimes picking a $20 exacta is easier than picking a 9 to 1 shot. If you really like 2 horses, don't be afraid to drop the hammer. If you really like a horse, box them with the others you like in an exacta and double up your key using those same horses. If you can't decide, you like 2 different horses, oftentimes we're stuck. Don't be afraid to key 2 horses on top while using several more underneath in an exacta bet. 1 or 4 must win. If the 3 horse wins, or the 2 horse wins, or the 7 horse wins, 1 or 4 must win. As long as one of those wins, you got 4 chances for second. It gives you multiple things to root for. It gives you a chance every race to cash a ticket that's going to hopefully keep you ahead of the game. If you win every other race or 1 out of every 3 races, you're going to stay ahead, which is what everyone should want to do. It's a good way to try to grind out a profit. Now, this is the method. You still have to pick the right horses. Identify vulnerable favorites. If you can get the chalk off the ticket, the price can explode. Eliminate non-contenders. Get rid of the horses you don't like first, and then rank the others. Visualize race shape. If you really like a speed horse to win, consider closers in some of the other spots. When the pressers get discouraged chasing the best horse, late runners often pass them to complete the gimmicks. Most importantly, bet based on your opinion. Take your time. Rushed bets are losing bets. Take it step by step. Handicap. Watch the tote board and post parade, and then finalize your tickets. Let's take a look at some trifecta and superfecta calculations. A $1 trifecta using 2 horses for first, 3 horses for second, and 5 horses for third. Remember, the same horses can't finish first, second, and third. So in this case, it would be 2 times 2 times 3, or $12, $6 on a 50-cent ticket. A $1 superfecta, 2 horses, by 3 horses, by 5 horses, by 7 horses. Again, the same horse can't run first, second, third, or fourth. 2 times 2 times 3 times 4 on a $1 ticket is $48, but that's just $4.80 on a 10-cent super.
Well, first of all, the multi-race wagers are essentially a bargain. You know, if the takeout is 18% on a straight bet, and then you have, let's say, a 21% takeout on a multi-race bet, that would amount to 7%, obviously, per race in a pick 3. So it's a multi-race wager will usually pay considerably more than a $2 win parlay, for example. So it's a way to go for the big payoff, a way to kind of beat the takeout, and so I like the multi-race wagers quite a bit if I like a horse in the sequence that I can single. In a multi-race wager, one of the important things is to have an opinion about one horse and maybe single that horse, and then look at various ways to capitalize on his victory, assuming that you're correct, and maximizing the payoffs by betting him in multiple pools. Betting him in a multi-horse pool, exactas, trifectas within the race, and then a multi-race pool, singling him in a pick 3 or a daily double. Sometimes I will play 3 different pick 3s, singling one horse in each of the pick 3s and spreading out in the other 2 races, so that in effect I have 3 different pick 3s, and I'm hoping that I can just pick one winner in the 3 races. And if I'm fortunate enough to pick 2 winners, then I have it twice, assuming that I've covered myself in the other 2 races.
Obviously, you like to try to be favorites in those races within the sequence. That's key to cashing a big ticket. How do you pick what horses you're going to use, and how do you eliminate horses?
Well, I think it gets back to sort of visualizing a race and seeing who we think can come out on top. So I'm trying to visualize every possible outcome that I can. Now, there's obvious favorites, like you said, that you think can stand out, but goodness knows if you can get in the first leg of a pick 3 or pick 4, that price, the payout is astronomical. So I want to try and visualize some sort of sequence where I can see this 10-1, this 5-1, and eliminate anybody else within the race that can't hit. Do that in each leg. The best advice I can give in regards to the multi-race, and especially taking care of the favorites, throw them out in the first leg. It's going to kill your ticket. I can't tell you how much money
or not play the wager.
Or don't play the wager.
If you really think that horse is going to win.
Unless you're, yes. If you said don't play the wager.
Don't play the wager. I said that to the wrong guy.
That is something James does not know how to do.
But here, it all comes down to budget. I like to play multi-race wagers. I'm more of a multi-race wager player than an intra-race wager player. I would rather sink $150 into a pick 5 than try to spread $150 over an entire card.
I am completely on your side with that. I also just wanted to say that the hour and a half of agony in a pick 4, also one of my favorite things in horse racing, right there with James on that. The thing about multi-race wagers that comes up so much when we start talking about it in even the most basic terms is the number one thing I can say is let the sequence dictate the ticket. You can't go into a pick 4 ticket and say, I've got 24 bucks. Because it's not necessarily going to work. There are sequences where that does work. What you need to do, what I do, is you go through the sequence and you figure out, in order to cover the horses that I think can win, or potentially at a price have a shot to win, what am I going to have to spend to do that? And then once I find that number, that's when I'm pulling the trigger or not, so to speak. If I find that there's 280 combinations worth of contenders in a pick 4, not my day. I'll pass it gladly. No shame in hitting the all button in a wide open race. If you have strong opinions in 2 or 3 of the other races, hit that all button and hope for chaos.
If you have strong opinions, that's the best thing that can happen. If you think only 2 horses can win a race, singles are great. 2 balls are great too. But if there is a wide open race, and particularly when you look at a maiden race on grass for 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, okay, these are some of the wide open races. Look for the speed of the speed. Never throw the speed of the speed out. Look for pedigree. Even if it's a trainer that doesn't win a lot first time out of the box, but it's a first time starter with amazing pedigree. Exothermic is a horse that won on the Gulfstream turf this past meet. That's a horse you want to look at. He paid $50, had tremendous pedigree, but the trainer didn't win that often first time out. And then hot connections. Barns that are hot. Even if the horse doesn't look that great on paper, you want to use a hot connection.
I actually just today got beat by Joel Rosario and John Sadler in Southern California.
Well,
and I swear
those connections are always hot, aren't they?
Always. And the horse was 8-1. And I got beat. And in a wide open race, you do not want to it's a wrist-slitting affair if you get beat by connections that are winning at 30% together.
The thing about the pick 6, you know, you have to have the financial wherewithal to be able to bet a significant dollar amount, lose, and then bet again the next day. Because, look, if you bet $100 and I bet $1,000, in real terms, my chances are 10 times greater to hit this thing than you. Also, I need to be, or we, if there's a consortium, need to be in a position to win on a ticket that you couldn't afford to buy. If I'm betting the same dollar amount, I don't want to incorporate all the same horses because people will gravitate to the favorites. The more money that you bet, the more lesser horses that you can include to separate you from the rest of the world.
We all start the day with a bankroll. We don't want to have to take a trip to the dreaded ATM machine.
The walk of shame.
The walk of shame, per se. So how do you attack it? I mean, do you go into a card saying to yourself, I've got 3 horses I'm really focusing on? Do you go into it with a plan?
I do. I mean, you take your bankroll. The average player plays about 150 to 200, 250 a day. I mean, that's the per capita wager. So take your bankroll and be realistic. Not everybody's a big splurger. Not everybody's a $2 bettor. If you're realistically playing in that 150 to 200 a day range, you have a really good shot of walking out with $400, $500, $600 on a good day. And that's a nice rake if you can take that home from the track. Don't try to overshoot it. That's the thing. Don't start with a $10 bankroll and think you're going to come out with $1,200. It doesn't work that way. And don't start with a $1,000 bankroll and think you're going to turn that into $10, $15 grand. The guys who are playing big money are grinders. They're not the kind of people who are looking to just turn it around and really slam it on one given day. So be smart with the way you wager your money. And of course, like you said, the key horses for you for a particular day are the ones you really want to focus on. If you've got $100 to play for the day and you've got 3 key horses, I would put probably 25 on each of those horses and have 75% of my income for the entire day on those 3 key horses. Now, you don't necessarily have to pay 25 on them to win, but you'll make your bets based on that kind of percentages. Maybe those would be your exactas or your pick 3s ending to that horse that you key in on.
The bottom line is, and the moral of the story is, don't try to play 100 races a day. Don't try to play 5 or 6 racetracks a day. You might have 1 or 2 days out of the course of a few months where you get lucky and you do really well. Chances are you're going to give it back.
Yeah, Bobby Franco used to say, bet more when you're hot and less when you're not. And if you're hot, let it roll and that sort of thing like that. But playing too many races is definitely the downfall of 99% of the players in the game.
Racing is not any different than any other form of entertainment or gambling venture that you enter into. You wouldn't go out the door to any other sporting event and not have some idea of about how much you're willing to spend on the tickets, on the refreshments, and on everything else that entails a day. At the races in this case, you want to do the same thing. You want to have a clear idea of how much you have to spend, and you don't want to overspend or bet over your head.
How many people do you know, Caton, that sit at an off-track betting facility or at the racetrack or play on an ADW that play whatever race is coming up next? They play 50 races a day from 10 different racetracks that actually stay ahead.
They go broke pretty quickly, actually, and they're out of here. You know, you do have to plan your day. You have to plan out which tracks and which races you're really going to use your money on. And you also have to use patience, because you could go in the door and wait all day long for one particular race. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no prize for using all your money early in the day. You really want to look and see which races are the ones you're most interested in making a wager on, and use some restraint to wait for them when they come up.
Like if I have a $200 bankroll for the day, but I really like the late pick 4 sequence, I might be willing to bet 96, almost half of my bankroll, into that late pick 4 sequence, because maybe I'm going to score a pick 4 that's going to pay me back 10-1 odds versus betting horses that I really don't like.
And oftentimes at a lot of tracks, for me personally, the earlier races on the card are the lesser quality races. They're the hardest for me to come up with a strong opinion, and a lot of times not the best betting opportunities either so far as the odds are concerned. So I'll usually use those early races as an opportunity to kind of see how my handicapping is playing out without maybe jumping into the windows. I'm just going to handicap, see how my picks are doing, see if I feel confident about later on, also see which way the track is playing too, and then wait for those better races a little later. You definitely should, in your mind, have a clear idea of what fair odds are and what represents risk versus reward. You know, sometimes the horse that you did like quite a bit is just going to be too short a price to jump in too deeply into that race. So maybe you reassess and say, well, I'm not going to bet him to win now. I'm going to maybe not invest quite as much into this race because I don't stand to win as much as I'd hoped, and I don't think that gamble is worth the possible payoff even if he does win.
So yeah, the whole thing is basically just what you're willing to risk versus what you're looking to get back, all based on your opinion. Every bet should always be based on your opinion, whether you're out here for the first time today or out here for the 50th time today. You know, don't let anybody talk you off of a horse.
Looking for a fun and easy way to learn more about horse racing? Night School, Tuesday nights. Enjoy access to top racing insiders via chat, video, and radio. Night School caters to fans at all levels. Miss a class? Read the archive. Night School, Tuesday nights. See you then.